Hi readers, me here, and it is long sleeve weather again here in North Carolina, and although it's chilly, we still have a shit ton of pollen in the air. You should see my car. It looks like a pollen bomb exploded all over it. So if it looks like I've been crying, I haven't. It's allergies. Anywho, today I'm going to give you my book review on Lessons in Chemistry. It's really more of a reaction than a review. But whatever. Let's carry on. So one of the things that I'm trying not to do, I still do it when I'm thinking about purchasing a book, but I'm trying not to look at reviews before I get started on a book, because I did so with this and it started to bring me down where I was not going to enjoy the book because of some of the critics. And that's not why I read. I read to enjoy. I read to have a good time with a book. So I started the first couple of pages and I could feel the negative reviewers affecting my reading experience. So I thought, how can I get past this? And I decided to treat Lessons in Chemistry as though it were a Doris Day movie. I love Doris Day, by the way. Doris Day movies are a little bit zany and a little bit over the top, so that's how I approached this. And midway, I was vindicated because they reference Elizabeth's main character's que sera sera approach to parenting. And as you know, Doris Day sang que sera sera. Anywho, this is not about Doris Day, but it did help me to read it that way. In the book, there was a thinking dog and a precocious child, and Elizabeth herself was kind of over the top. So I really enjoyed my read looking at it that way. There were some not so funny parts in this book that, again, I think were probably a little bit over the top, but it made it a little bit less zany in this. So anywho, in here, Elizabeth, to make ends meet, starts doing a cooking show, but she's a chemist, even though she can't get anywhere because she's a woman, and her prior boss steals her ideas. So she starts doing a television series. It's a cooking show, and to everyone's surprise, it takes off with the women, because she's not just Susie Homemaker. She brings her chemistry to the set. Again, everybody, all the men hate it, but the women love it. One of my favorite parts in here was on page 261. She's engaging the live audience. Again, the producer doesn't like this because he wants this show to be a certain way, and she famously goes off script time and time again. So she's off script, engaging the audience and talking to one woman, and the woman's like, "Oh, I'm just a housewife." She's like, "Nope, nobody's just a housewife. What did you want? What do you do? What else do you do?" And she keeps talking and talking with this woman. The woman's name is Mrs. George Phyllis. This was a time when women took their husbands' names and referred to them like that forever. And anywho, so Mrs. George Phyllis finally says, "I wanted to be an open heart surgeon." And then, Elizabeth says, "Well, why don't you?" And she's like, "It's too late." It's never too late. And then, this is my favorite part. Then Elizabeth looks right through the camera lens and, almost as if she divined it, directly into the astonished faces of Mrs. George Phyllis's 5 children sprawled in front of the TV in Kernville, their eyes open wide, their mouths agape, as if they had just seen their mother for the first time. Whew, started to tear up there. Anywho, I really like that because that is what her show helped people do. It helped women see themselves, and it helped their families see them as well. There is another theme in here that really touched me, and that is something I think that a lot of us have, and that is guilt, particularly over things that we can't control. Elizabeth has it with her husband's death. Spoiler, sorry. With her husband's death, because she bought a leash. And if it had not been for the leash, her husband wouldn't have died. Leash for the dog. Her husband wouldn't have died. Which we all know that's ridiculous if you're listening to someone else say it. But we do the same things to ourselves. She also felt guilty over her brother's suicide because she couldn't save him. And I don't want to read the part in here because then I'll really be bawling over here. I thoroughly enjoyed this book. Again, I had to cut out the negative reviewers' responses. And once I did that, I just really enjoyed it. Full disclosure, I did kind of skim a little bit quickly when it got too sciencey for me. Science has not been always been my thing. But it wasn't very often that this happened. In Elizabeth's final show, she says something I'm going to take to heart as well. Chemistry is change. Whenever you start doubting yourself, whenever you feel afraid, just remember, courage is the root of change, and change is what we're chemically designed to do. So when you wake up tomorrow, make this pledge: no more holding yourself back, no more subscribing to others' opinions of what you can and cannot achieve, and no more allowing anyone to pigeonhole you into useless categories of sex, race, economic status, and religion. Do not allow your talents to lie dormant, ladies. Design your own future. When you go home today, ask yourself what you will change, and then get started. There is also, I think it's on Apple TV, a show about this very book. I'm probably going to catch a few episodes soon. I don't watch as much TV as I used to because I've been reading. And I guess that's all I've got for this review. Reaction, really? I enjoyed this book. I can see why Barnes & Noble named it the Book of the Year. And if you like something that's a little bit zany, a fun romp with thinking dogs and precocious kids and strong women, check it out. That's all for me. Happy reading.